sex, because he made sex and he said it was oh so good. And so tonight I'm going to really talk to you about victory in the bedroom. And 92% of couples, if they're poll and they're telling the truth, will say that they have experienced some form of difficulty when it comes to amazing sex. And there are various reasons why people struggle in the bedroom. And I will tell you that as I have been coaching and teaching and speaking all over the world, it is all very common. And so I'm going to give you just a few reasons why some people might be struggling in the bedroom. Now, this is not going to cover every single thing, but let me just tell you, I've been doing this work for over 15 years. And these are the common things that I have coached and helped women and couples through over my period of time of being a sexologist and a marriage coach and a counselor and all the stuff that goes along with what I do. And the first thing that most people deal with when it comes to, shying away or having difficulties when it comes to sex is really unforgiveness, right? And if you've been married for any length of time, unforgiveness can literally spill over into every area of your life, not just the bedroom, but in so many different other areas when it comes to really connecting with your mate. So unforgiveness is the first thing. The next thing is infidelity, right? And my thing is when it comes to infidelity, you can get past anything as long as you're open and honest about what happened and how it happened, and you seal that breach that happened when it came to infidelity. And infidelity used to be a devastating thing, but nowadays, and I'm not saying that it's not devastating nowadays, but you can really learn to move past infidelity and get into a much better space where you love each other more, trust each other more, and confide in each other more. And so infidelity is the second thing. And then illness, whether it's physical or mental illness, can also affect how we connect sexually in the bedroom. There are a lot of things that go on, especially with women, where as we age, we go through menopause and we have, hormone changes. We have so many things that go on with our body. So the physical side of it could be one of the things that's challenging when it comes to the bedroom. But also on the flip side, men also go through a male menopause as well. So they have hormone drops and they get into a situation where they, have a lower libido as well. But again, it can be all addressed. All of these things can be addressed. Now, with the mental part of it, if there's been hurt and you're walking in unforgiveness, and if there's been infidelity, there's some things that you can do as well. And I believe I'm a huge, huge component of counseling, right? Because counseling can literally help you get to a point where you can put a period behind whatever happened to you and move forward. And I'm talking about the things that can happen outside of the bedroom in order for us to be able to go into the bedroom and achieve victory when it comes to amazing intimacy, amazing love, and amazing sex. And that's the ultimate goal for God and your marriage. Okay. The next thing, it could be trauma, right? Trauma, undealt with trauma. And a lot of women, have dealt with trauma with their bodies, as, growing up as girls and as women, because we're vulnerable as, young people. And if you are dealing with unresolved trauma, that can carry over into your bedroom. Even if you think that you've dealt with it, sometimes it can be a hindrance when it comes to really being vulnerable and giving your body to someone else, especially if it's been violated. And that can also happen on the male side as well. So I'm not trying to be one-sided, but women's trauma happens a lot more frequently when it comes to men, but it can happen in a male's lifetime as well. The other thing is stress. Undealt with stress can be so impactful on a marital bed. And it comes in so many different forms. And what, you know, in this, the sensation that we're in right now with COVID-19, unemployment, just, Black Lives Matter, all of these different things that are going on in our world can add so much undue stress on the family, on you, on our bodies, that it could literally make you stray away and not want to engage in sex. So stress. And so you can deal with stress in so many different ways. And that's a whole nother teaching. But if you are feeling that you're so stressed out and you can pinpoint, this is the reason why you're having a hard time inside of the bedroom, please get yourself some help and whatever, because stress can lead to so many other different things that can physically and mentally impact you for years to come. Also, a lack of communication. Communication is the key to every single thing in this life, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. Communication literally can change every single thing that you have going on in your life, right? Especially when it comes to your marital bed. And you need to learn to communicate your needs, your wants, and your desires, and be okay with and being vulnerable in front of your spouse when it comes to your intimacy. And the last thing is physical changes. As we age, our body is going to change. It just is. You can keep it, you can exercise, you can diet, you can, eat all the right things. You can, do all of these different surgeries and all of these different kind of things, but the body will change, right? And you have to learn to embrace where you are, whether it's your husband who's gaining weight or losing weight, whether it's you that's gaining weight or losing weight, however that works, you've got to embrace that your body is constantly changing, okay? And so I want to go into really how to have victory in the bedroom. And I want to give you some tools and strategies that's going to help you along in this journey. And like I said, the things that I just talked about, or the things that I have been able to help people identify that is hindering them from enjoying and receiving pleasure when it comes to sex in the bedroom. But again, your story might be totally different. I'm just giving you the top ones that I know that can hinder and keep you on that path from receiving pleasure. Number one is you need to really learn to talk about the problem, right? Not just one of you going to the spouse, but both of you having an open and honest dialogue about how you're feeling about your marital bed, right? It has to be two people, and it has to be two willing people that are willing to meet in the middle to say, you know what, I am in it to win it, and I want both of us to give and to receive pleasure. Let's figure out how to fix it, right? Because again, if you are walking in unforgiveness, you need to learn to say, I'm sorry, or the other person needs to say, I'm sorry. You need to be able to pinpoint what it is that is keeping you from engaging on a regular basis. And so it has to be an open dialogue. And you have to be able to, like I say, literally get naked in order to get naked. And so many people really struggle with this because they're like, I don't want to be bringing up the past. Well, if you're still harboring the past, that is keeping you from giving your spouse the fullness, the full essence of who you are, spirit, mind, and body, right? So make sure that when you guys come to a place, and do not do it inside your bedroom, do this outside of your bedroom and say, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm not getting, this is how I think you can give me what I'm looking for. Always go to your spouse with the problem and somewhat of a solution. Just don't go and throw out all the problems and not have some way to make them help you resolve that problem. I hope I'm making sense. Number two, take time for sex. Take time to have sex. Prepare for it. Just like we prepare amazing dinners, just like we prepare for amazing vacations, just like we prepare to go to work, just like we prepare, you know, whatever we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, you need to prepare your body to receive pleasure. And I can't explain it to you any more simpler. So many of us are like just in a rush, and it's not pleasurable. It becomes a job. It's like, oh my God, like I just can't, because I have 1,000 other things that I need to accomplish, 1,000 other things that I have on my mind, all of these different kind of things. You need to carve out time to give and to receive pleasure. Put on the candles, put on the music, put on the lingerie, take a shower, do whatever you need to do in order to receive and give pleasure. I just can't say that enough, because again, the body needs to really enjoy sex because it's good for you. It is literally good physically, mentally, and spiritually for you. God created it, and he said it was oh so good, right? And when I'm saying prepare for it, there are 4 phases of pleasure, right? And it's called the sexual response cycle. And the first thing is the excitement of it, right? Not being that you're dreading it, but the excitement of it. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the arousal. That's when the body is prepared to receive pleasure, right? The blood is flowing. The heart is beating, right? The juices are going to the you know, vaginal area and to the penis. All of this is going on. And so that is the arousal phase of it, right? And I really want people to realize that your body needs to go through all 4 phases in order for you to be fulfilled. The third phase is orgasm, right? And people know, and if you don't know, men will orgasm a lot quicker than women, right? And so as a woman, we need to be in tune with our bodies in order to slow the response, the sexual response cycle down, for you guys to kind of be on the same page. Now, we all know that men are like microwaves and women are like ovens, right? But you can get in a space where it's a give and take thing, right? If you slow him down in order for you to enjoy the excitement of your body anticipating what's about to happen, you get your body into the arousal state, which most people call foreplay, right? And get the juices flowing and the heart pumping and the heavy breathing and the touching and the kissing and all of those kind of things, right? And then you get to the thing where you orgasm. And that is something that a lot of women especially find hard to achieve. And the reason why we find it hard to achieve, because we have not learned to empty our minds from all the stuff that is going on throughout our day, right? And this is the part that we miss out on the most. And this is the reason why we find it very hard to continue to want to have sex, because we walk away feeling unfulfilled, right? And so I really want you to focus in, and that's the reason why number 2 is truly prepare for sex. You got to prepare for it, because you want to empty your mind and you want to get excited about the anticipation, right? Because you've already had the conversation outside of the bedroom. You've already said, you know, I forgive you. You went through all the stuff, whatever that is, you dealt with that outside of the bedroom, right? And so you want to get excited about having sex, right? And then you want to get to the arousal stage, right? Where the, you know, everything is happening. It is like, oh my God, I just can't wait. And then you get to the orgasmic stage. This is good for the body, right? This is good for the body. It lowers blood pressure. It keeps the vessels dilated. It does a lot for you to orgasm on a regular basis. And then you want to come to resolution. Resolution is the 4th stage of the sexual response cycle. And this is where what we consider in my industry coming back to normal. This is when your body has came off a high, and this is where true intimacy kicks in. True intimacy kicks in in the resolution stage, because at this time you're holding each other, right? Your body and your heartbeat is probably in rhythmic, it's beating as one, right? You're holding each other. You're tired. You're probably sweating, but your breathing is becoming back to normal. And let me just tell you, if you get in the rhythm with your partner and with your spouse to go through the sexual response cycle on a regular basis, I'm telling you, it will be nothing like having sex. And it will help you not only inside of the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom, because that's where intimacy will start to kick in. Because again, you're going to want to get inside the bedroom to repeat that cycle. Okay. Number 3, stop comparing your sex life to back then. Right. I get a lot of couples that come to me, well, back then we used to swing from the ceilings. Back then we used to do X, Y, Z. Back then we used to whatever. Back then is over. Let's look at here and now and be in the present. Your body has changed. Your experiences have changed, right? Your needs, your wants and desires have changed. So I say, stay in the present and make the present the best that it can be, right? You know, put that back on the back burner, right? What you used to do in your 20s and your 30s or whatever, right? Wherever you are right now. But put that on the back burner. Yes, that was fun. Yes, that's what we used to do back then, right? And not saying that you can't incorporate some of the fun things that you used to do back then, but it might have to be modified. You don't know where you are in the menopause stage for a woman or a man. You don't know if he's dealing with erectile dysfunction, you're dealing with vaginal dryness. You might have to introduce some lubricants and some other things that you didn't have to worry about back then. So that's the reason why I say leave that on the back burner and focus in on the present, because that's what's most important. What is happening here and now, and how can we make the best of this right now? Number 4, start focusing more on intimacy instead of the sexual act. And most people clump intimacy and sex all in the same pot. It's not. Intimacy is allowing somebody in your personal space, is allowing to see all of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And the reason why I started this teaching off by saying some of the reasons why people struggle, you know, in the bedroom is because they haven't taken care of the things outside of the bedroom. It's because intimacy is one of the most important things, especially for a woman. We need physical touch. We need affirmations. We need to hear we're beautiful. We need to hear that we're sexy. We need to hear all of those things. A man needs to hear that he's respected, that he's a king, that he's the head of the household, that he's a great provider, that he's all of these things, that he's your knight in shining armor. All of these things have to do with intimacy, right? It has to do with intimacy. And you need to learn to cultivate intimacy on a day-to-day basis. You know, I always say, try to outdo your spouse, not financially and be in competition, but try to outdo them as just showing them love and kindness, right? And also add some fun into those things. Add some fun into those things, because so many marriages, again, are under stress right now that we forget to have fun. We forget to laugh. We forget that you know, this too shall pass. And so add intimacy, focus more on intimacy instead of the sexual act. And I guarantee you, if you focus in on being one and showing love and doing the small things and giving those compliments and giving those affirmations and building one another up, it's going to translate into your bedroom much easier. It really is going to translate into your bedroom much easier. And again, intimacy has nothing to do with the sexual act, but I will tell you this: if you focus in on intimacy and you allow yourself to be vulnerable and you allow yourself to go back to where, you know, when you seen him, you were like, oh my God, like, oh, he was just the you know, the cat's meow, and she was the, you know, the brick house that you couldn't just let go. I'm telling you, on my age, I'm talking about brick houses and stuff like that. But if you get to that point, I guarantee you it's going to translate, and it's going to heal, and it's going to move you into the stage where you can have amazing sex on a regular basis. Number 5, get to know each other's bodies, right? Again, you might have learned each other's bodies back then, right? But what are you allowing yourself to learn new about your spouse right now, right? Because some of us have kids, all this stuff that went on with our bodies. Our bodies have changed, and we need to explore them more often now than we did back then, because we need to realize that physical touch is healing. Physical touch is sexy. Physical touch can lead you to all your erogenous zones. And I tell couples that if you're struggling, really learn your erogenous zones and play a game and figure them out. You can make it into a game, figure it out and say, listen, I want you to touch me from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. And when you get a reaction, make note of that. But we're not going to have sex. We're going to play this game, and I'm going to do it to you, and I want you to do it to me, right? And it's something so simple, but it's, again, being intimate without having sex. But again, when it's time to have sex, you won't have to tell them where to go, because they've already explored your body and they already know what made you react, okay? And then number 6, prepare. Prepare to enjoy sex into your late, so you can't do it no more. And how do you prepare your body for that? First of all, you have to understand your own body, how you respond, what your needs want, what your wants. You have to become the navigation system to it, because again, we're forever changing all the time. Your body is not the same. Even though it might look the same, you might look at your pictures and say, I look the same as I did once. Your body has changed. And you have to learn to prepare for the changes. You also have to learn that your body is a spirit and it needs to be nurtured. And again, I always tell couples to invite God into their marital bed. I'm not saying play church music while you're having sex. That is not sexy. What I'm saying is, if you are struggling, or your spouse is struggling with erectile dysfunction, you're struggling with vaginal dryness, menopause, any of the things that can cause a breach when you can't have intercourse, ask God to allow your body to line up with His will, right? Ask God to keep you healthy, spirit, mind, and body, because that is one of the most important things. And I will tell you, when I began to pray over my body, because I have had some challenges, with menopause, and, I had a hysterectomy, all of these different things that have went on just in a short period of time with my particular body. I had to ask God to align my body back up to His will so I can receive and give pleasure. And so what I'm asking you to do is invite God and begin to pray over your marital bed on a daily basis, and ask Him to allow you to experience sex the way He created it. If you ask God to allow you to experience spiritual sex, it is absolutely nothing like it. And I ask God to align my body, to align Gilbert's body as one. And when you get in sync with your spouse and you're able to experience spiritual sex, it is mind blowing. I'm just telling you, it is really mind blowing. So I began to pray over my body. I began to pray over Gilbert's body, which was nothing wrong with his body, but I began to say, God, meet us in our marital bed. Heal us from the hurts that we have both put each other through. Heal our bodies, heal our minds, heal us from the inside out. And let it be a manifestation of our love and our intimacy as we began to walk through this whole entire thing called marriage, right? And so if you're struggling in having victory in your bedroom, my prayer is that you're able to implement and to use some of these tools and strategies to really bring harmony back into the bedroom, because it is the will of God that you experience amazing sex within the confines of marriage. And so again, I thank you so much for listening in. My name is Gail Crowder, and it's been a pleasure pouring into you guys. And if you want more information about mind-blowing spiritual sex, please visit my website at gailcrowder.com. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this amazing virtual conference.
Hello, and welcome to the Vows to Victory Summit. We're your hosts, Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick.
Now, you may have been invited here by a friend, by a family member, or one of our amazing guest speakers. You may have even heard about this summit through Facebook ads. Either way, we're glad that you're here, and we're sure that you've enjoyed the speakers thus far. And guess what? This is just the beginning. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, just who is this summit for? Maybe you're like Jamie and Todd. I mean, he's talking, she's talking, but nobody is listening. Maybe you're like Ashley and Sean. You know, when you first got married, it was like 50 shades of gray in your bedroom. But now it looks like a second office, or for some of you, it might look like another playroom for the kids, or your bedroom is quickly becoming the TV room because nothing is happening.
And you've gone from husband and wife to almost roommates. Life has gotten so busy with the children, jobs, and business responsibilities that they rarely have time, much less the energy, to connect physically anymore. Now, if this sounds familiar, then this is for you.
Now, maybe you're like Jeff and Monica. I mean, this one really hit home for us. I mean, have you ever had those endless shouting matches about money issues? Are you tired of seeing your account in the negative and wondering, how did you get there? Is your spouse suddenly appearing with all kinds of bags of goodies from a shopping spree that you knew absolutely nothing about? Now, we realize that this is an uncomfortable conversation, but it is what? Very necessary. All those sleepless nights, the tossing and the turning because you're frustrated and trying to figure out how ends are going to meet. And if that is you, then this webinar is for you. But you know one thing that we do know, that marriages don't break themselves.
No, they don't.
Just like it takes two people to tango, it takes two people to break a marriage. Now, what are the top 5 things that will break a marriage?
Well, number one, and always the key, is communication.
You know what? I'm sure you're wondering. Communication is the key. That's the primary one. But go ahead, take a second guess. What do you think the other 4 ones are?
Well, number 2 is finances. Number 3 is sex. Number 4 is faith. And number 5 is the lack of forgiveness.
Okay. Now, communication is going to be the main issue here. Oftentimes, it's because one spouse is expecting the other one to read their mind. I mean, the truth is, no spouse can correct something that they don't even know exists. So what's the best way to resolve it? What? Talk about it.
Yes,
you know, talk about the good, talk about the bad. Talk just like you did when you were dating. I mean, make sure that you're talking to one another instead of at one another. What's the second point, hon?
Finances. Each spouse needs to be on the same page financially. It doesn't mean that each person has to be strong in that area, but that just they need to agree on how to handle the finances.
You know what? You got to make what's going to come out. Make sure that what's going out of your account doesn't exceed what's coming into your account. You know, you need to meet on a regular basis and discuss your finances. It really depends on how often you get paid. Some of us get paid twice a month, like on the 15th and the 30th. Some of us once a month. So all of that's going to determine how frequently you and your spouse need to meet.
Yes, that's going to determine what we call the B word.
Yeah. So here's where the issue arises. Sometimes there's too much undisclosed information. A budget, or the B word, can help squash arguments between a couple. So you can still you can determine and tell the money where it goes instead of it telling you got where to go. Let me say that one more time and make sure I got this clear. You guys can tell your money where to go instead of your money telling you what to do with it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Now, we all know with no money comes no romance.
Oh, wow.
Sex.
No money, no honey.
That's right, sex.
So that's one of the third most common reasons, right?
Sex has to be a priority.
It does?
Yes, it does.
All right.
We understand that if there is a physical reason why the two of you are engaging in sexual activity on a regular basis, but other than that, it wasn't a priority. When you first got married, you couldn't keep your hands off each other.
Right. Now,
So
you want to make sure sex isn't seen as a chore.
exactly. It's not a chore. It's not a, what do you call it? Something that you hate to look forward to. It's something that you look forward to.
Yes. It needs to be pleasurable. It needs to be deep. It needs to be a connection involved, not just a hurry up and get it over with so I can go to sleep type thing.
Exactly.
All right. So you know what the fourth thing is? Your faith. I mean, let me be real. Sometimes we spend so much time praying for a spouse. God, give me a spouse. God, give me a spouse. And then once you get the spouse, you either forget or you get too busy to thank God for the spouse that they gave you. Instead, you opt to complain. It goes from thank you, God, for my spouse to Lord, look what you gave me for a spouse. And God's like, wait a minute, you prayed all those months, all those years. I finally give you a spouse. Now you're going to start complaining. Where is your faith? I didn't promise you they were going to be a perfect spouse. I promised you a spouse that would love you, that would honor you, that would treat you with the respect you deserve. But the truth is, life happened. So how do you handle that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You got to have number 5, forgiveness.
Yes.
Because you're not always going to be agreeing. You're not always going to be perfect. And sometimes you're just going to get on each other's nerves.
Now, truly, forgiveness can be a challenging one.
Yes, sir.
Because at some point, we're all going to fall short. We're all imperfect beings, like you said. So there's going to be a time where you're going to be upset because they may not respond the way you want them to respond. They may not do what you want them to do. But that doesn't mean that you stay locked in that unforgiving position. You have to be able to get up and move forward in your marriage. So did you know that walking in unforgiveness impacts you physically? It impacts you emotionally, and it impacts you spiritually. It impacts your relationship with God because your prayers are now hindered because you're walking in unforgiveness to your spouse.
Exactly. So that takes us to this. What is a vow?
So you know what? When we all got married, we took a vow, which is a solemn promise. But guess what? Oftentimes in our marriage, we do what? We forget the promise.
That's right. So now some of us have spoken the words, but we didn't really believe the words and the impact it would have on our lives or our marriages.
Yeah.
So some of us didn't even realize that these words, these vows, were meant to be spoken more than once. Yes, I said it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And not just at renewing the vow ceremony.
We got you there, didn't we?
Let's think about it. How often do we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, at least back in school?
Yes, I remember it. We used to say it every morning. It was a reminder of our commitment. And so what we're saying here is why not do the same thing? Recite your vows on a regular basis to remind you and your spouse of your commitment to your relationship.
Exactly. And we have some rules. So rule number 1, remember the vow, repeat the vow, recite the vow.
Now, I'm sure you're like, remember the vow, repeat the vow, recite the vow. What's that about? Look, think about it. You may have said the Pledge of Allegiance over 100 times when you were in school, but you only say your vows once. Well, for us, we said it 3 times, once at each wedding, but that's a totally different story. We'll talk about this because we were married 3 times, but we'll talk about that a little later. All right.
So traditional vows
There's no time like the present. If your spouse,
That's right.
let me give you guys an assignment. If your spouse is with you, I want you to turn to your spouse and repeat after me. I,
Eric Hollick,
take thee
to be my wedded wife, to have and to hold, for this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, and in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part.
So why are we encouraging you to do this? Because life happens. Challenges arise, but you can't allow the challenges to be greater than your vows.
Biggest challenges the couple face. These are the biggest challenges that we face. Here's a key reason why we encourage you to do those three things. Remember the vows, repeat the vows, recite the vows. Why? Because we keep trying to renegotiate the terms we both agree. So when the two of us face challenges together, no need to renegotiate the terms. Just remember, recite and repeat the vows. This leads us to our next rule. Rule number 2.
So rule number 2 means all money should be what? It should be 3 things. The first thing all money should be is obligated. When you got married, I'm sure none of you ever decided, where your money should go instead of it telling you where to go. Does that make sense? So you and your spouse need to get together and create a plan that determines where your money should go, where it should be obligated to do. If you need to pay bills, whatever financial obligations you have, that money should be obligated to take care of that. But also money should be what?
Designated.
All right. So every dollar should have an assignment, be it a light bill, a phone bill, a cable bill, a mortgage.
Nails, hair done, feet pedicures.
Okay, back to what I was saying. If you wait until the day that you get paid, you'll find yourselves tired and frustrated and irritated with your spouse because things constantly come up. Now, if you've already given your money a designated assignment, you're less likely to overspend because you'll be able to look at your check and realize this part of my money is assigned to my tuition. This part of my money is assigned to the light bill. This is assigned to the cable bill. This is assigned to the rent. Because if not, you'll find yourself, like they said, robbing Peter to pay Paul, or AKA living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not what we want.
Right.
And that leads us to our third point, where all money should be transparent. Now, I'm going to pause right here for a moment. And the reason we say that, because we worked with, I don't know how many couples, and a lot of them talk about the fact that, we should have separate accounts. We should have everything in one account. And the truth is, every couple is going to be different, but your money should be transparent, meaning you don't need to hide it. If you're going to have an account for, say, all the bills, we do that. I have my own little account where, hey, if I need expenditures, I need to get my nails done, my daughter's hair done, that doesn't impact our bills. So that money is stashed away. I know if I need to do something, it needs to be within the confines of that budget, right?
Right, and I know where it is.
And he knows exactly where it is.
And how to access it.
Which is the second point, because should something happen to me, that money shouldn't just sit there. He needs to be able to access it. Now, every couple manages money differently. So we realize that. I mean, some relationships, the husband might be stronger in finances, and others, the wife may be stronger. Either way, we get it. Flow in a way that it works for you and your spouse, but have the necessary conversations so that you're both aware of what's going on and what's happening to the finances in the relationship. And you know why?
Well, because you want it to be transparent and make sure that there's nothing hidden. But the best thing to do, even if you do understand about finances, is to get a financial advisor.
You know what? If not, it's going to be everybody's money but yours. And why is this important?
Because you don't want it to be going out more than is coming in.
And that's important because on tax day this year it's been changed, but Uncle Sam is looking for his cut of the money,
Exactly.
and
all
he's
the
going to
time.
take it. So you need to make sure that you're handling your finances such that when tax day rolls around, you don't have more going out than you have coming in. And you know why? That's a huge issue in relationships, finances. And you know what? Marriages don't break themselves.
So let's take a moment here. It's two of you,
Mhm.
right? It takes two. And the marriage, like she said, doesn't break itself because it's two people involved.
Mhm.
Each of you have something to contribute. Now, I don't know how many times that Sakeisha and I have sat down, we had disagreements, and we both thought that each other had caused the issue and broke the issue and caused us to get to the point where we were angry at each other.
Yes.
But you know what happens when we go to the bathroom, when we look in the mirror, we see ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you know what we do? There are some suggestions and some recommendations for those couples. Now, when we're talking about money, if you look below, if you can go to that website, this is where you can go to get a free needs analysis. You can talk about your financial goals, where you are today, where you want to go. You can talk about vacations. And then you're also going to be planning. If you don't already have children, you can start planning for their education, saving for the education, saving for the vacation, saving for the house, saving for the cars, and saving for retirement.
Now, I have a question for you guys. The reason why we're talking about this is because we found ourselves in a place where we had to make a decision. I mean, I'd been a pharmacist for 19 years
Mhm.
and I had challenges in my health. So, guess what? That's a six-figure salary out the window.
Wow.
So, guess what? I reached the end of the road with my current job. Working, doing the part time and on a long term disability, that just was not cutting it with a family. We had a two-figure income bills, but then we no longer had that two-figure income. So we decided, to pursue an avenue in which we could be a blessing to other couples. I mean, we were working with couples anyway.
Right.
We were helping them with the communication, the finances, and their sex. So we made a business out of it. We got our license and became licensed financial services advisors. So, when you're finding yourself, if you're at the end of the road with your current job, or you might be finished college, but you're not necessarily interested in pursuing traditional employment, or you might have been recently downsized, but you're ready to start the next phase of your life, we want to provide you with an avenue to earn an additional stream of income, help your family build a legacy,
That's right.
build generational wealth, and protect your wealth. So we would definitely like to extend the offer for you to check out the website at clients.firstfinancialsecurity.com/FFSBB. That's going to take you to our website where you can get a free financial analysis. And what we can teach you is how to build a team who's going to support your vision. We'll teach you how to work with customer service. We teach you in our business, you're able to learn from your mistakes. It's not held over your head, and you have constant on-the-job training. You can leverage the experience and expertise of your business partners, and you can deliver quality results. So we encourage those of you to look at it, check us out on that website, and give us a call. We'd love to provide you with a free financial analysis to help you and your family get on track for a positive financial future, as well as consider it as another stream of income for you.
So that leads us to our next rule, number 3.
All right.
What happened to the sex?
Now, once you get married, you need to make sure that your sex life is still a priority.
That's
Some
right.
spouses might be scratching their head sometimes and wondering what happened to the sex and why. Because your spouse winds up being on the last on your to-do list.
Oh no, don't put me last, baby.
I mean, to be honest, life happens. Things happen. We have jobs, we have businesses, we have bills, we have kids. I get it. But the truth is, your spouse should not be last on your to-do list. I mean, first things first, when life happens and all of these things are coming at you, one of the things you should do is connect more with your spouse.
Right. And
Turn
what you got
to
to
them.
do is you got to make them a priority.
Yeah.
Priorities. Great sex starts before you reach the bedroom. So reminder, To the men, great sex starts in the morning when you wake up. Set the tone so when you get home, your wife is ready.
Uh-huh. So don't forget, it's the small things that lead to a great experience between the two of you. The same old thinking gives you the same old result. So if you have a boring sex life now, it's going to continue to be boring until you remember to incorporate the small things that can lead to a great experience.
So, what exactly are the small things?
It's things like thoughtfulness, kindness, giving compliments, and good grooming habits.
Oh, wow. So, have you had the talk?
And I'm sure you're wondering, like, what talk? I talk to my spouse all the time. No, there's a talk that you and your spouse need to have on a regular basis because we're always evolving. Our bodies are always changing. And let's face it, after being in the healthcare industry for 19 years, I realized that there are certain things that happen to our bodies that we need to talk to our spouses about. So there are going to be things that change for women. I mean, things can change for us sexually. I mean, being a pharmacist who's over 30, and I'm staying at that, I understand there are things like medical diseases that can impact a woman's body. I mean, medications, if they're on antidepressants. I mean, there can be certain lifestyle habits. If she consumes alcohol, smoke, or drinking, using any drugs, if you've had surgery, if there's going to be any fatigue and menopause happens. There could be like also different psychological things. We talked about depression before, but also anxiety and stress, such as financial stress, stress at work, stress at home,
self-esteem.
Yeah, and poor body image. Let me say that. Can I pause here for a second?
Yes, baby.
Husbands, we need you to understand, as we get older, our bodies may change. We look to you to encourage us, speak life over us, encourage our bodies. We understand there may be stretch marks from carrying the kids and things happen, but we need you to encourage us. Love every part of the body, every part of our bodies. Trust me, it'll bless you.
Yes. And just as things change for women, they also change for men. Low testosterone, low testosterone is an important male hormone. Medications, restless leg syndrome, RLS, depression, chronic illness, sleep problems, aging, and what I hate, smoking.
Hold up. Can we pause for 1 second? The reason why this picture is here is because you see that little blue pill. You need to have that conversation with your spouse in case there is a need for a little blue pill.
Yes.
And it's so funny that some men don't want to have those conversations with their wives, but it's going to impact your wife if something is not going on. You don't want her to feel that it's her. It could be something like depression. It could be the testosterone. It could be a chronic illness. But you need to have that conversation with her so she can get you to the doctor and help get you the appropriate treatment so you can continue to have that quality connection time.
It's a good thing that I have a pharmacist for the wife. So what makes it work in the bedroom? That's a question we all ask, right?
Yes. Well, we want to share with you. We have what we call a small things manifesto. If you remember, we talked earlier about the small things that lead to a great experience, such as thoughtfulness and kindness. So what we want you to do is remember the small things. And can I break it down for them?
Yes,
honey?
you sure can.
All right. The S in small means say what you mean and mean what you say. The M means for make time with them a priority. The A stands for acknowledge the small things they do. The first L means learn how to have fun again. The second L means let them know how important to you they really are. Now for things, the T means thank you. A little appreciation goes a long way. All right. The H stands for how can I make your day better? When we ask our spouse about their day, we're being selfless and putting their needs first. So then the next thing is the I, initiate sex regularly, not once a year, not once every 6 months, not just on your birthday, but initiate sex regularly.
And that's just not for men. That means women initiated sex.
Yes. Okay. The N in small things means never be too proud to apologize.
That's right.
The G means give compliments on a regular basis. And the last S means safe space, meaning you need to make sure that your home is an environment that's warm, that's welcoming, and a place of peace and comfort. And all of those things lead to the Small Things Manifesto. So make sure there should be a link below for you to order your free copy of the Small Things Manifesto, which reminds us to do what?
That's right. Remember to recite, repeat, and you got to remember that because marriages don't break themselves.
But
Remember
what does that? But what breaks a marriage?
People do. The individuals, the husband and the wife, they're two people, not just one person. And they both have a contribution to it.
But what is it? Bad habits.
That's
the main thing, like ignoring your spouse, making them feel neglected, not being thoughtful. It's those small things that lead to a great experience.
Right.
But one of the things we want to remind you is
everything in your marriage isn't broken.
So let us help you out. I'm so excited about this. 30 days prior to your anniversary, we want to help you out. We want you to sign up for the 30 Days of Gratitude Journal. So it's going to be one for the husband and one for the wife. So step number 1, you just sign up at our email list at marriagecanwin@gmail.com, and we'll send you a link, which is step number 2, to order one for you and for your spouse. You can pre-order it now or prior to your anniversary. Step number 3, you're going to fill out all the sections in this journal for 30 days. They're going to be daily reminders. They're going to be thoughts of you. They're going to be reflections and things of that nature, scriptures that you can stand on. And step number 4, you present it to your spouse on your anniversary. So you're going to spend 30 days prior to your anniversary getting prepared. And I'm telling you, husbands, you will blow your wife's mind if you just take some time to do that. So you'll get your copy of the Vows to Victory journal, and it is going to be amazing.
Now, remember, marriages don't break themselves, but guess what? Bad habits do.
But guess what? If you fix your habits, you can save your marriage. Why?
Great habits create great marriages.
All right. So we have another set of affirmations for you, and we are so excited about it. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready. It's called the Vow to Victory affirmations.
Value the way we learn on each other when we lean on each other for support.
I means I appreciate my spouse for all he or she does for our marriage.
Commit to communication openly and honestly.
The T stands for trust because it's an integral part of our marriage.
Oh, our marriage is growing stronger every day.
The R means respond in love even when it's difficult.
You show up in your marriage every single day, regardless of the circumstances.
And that stands for victory. So that's why we're talking about the Vow to Victory Summit. And why are we having this? Because today's marriages are under assault. And we need you. We need couples like you who are winning in their marriage. We need couples like you who are transparent about their challenges and their wins.
Because you want to do what? Leave a legacy for the next couple.
So we've created the ultimate guide, the ultimate how-to on this journey. So make sure you join us on this journey. How do you do that? Step number 1, go to our website, go to www.vowtothevictorysummit.com/sale. And I think it's a sale or sales page. I'll double check that. Step number 2, let us interview you. Just click on the button that says click here to schedule your interview.
Step number 3, our ghostwriters will help you tell your story. Step number 4, be a part of the book project that saves marriages around the world.
Step number 5, be a part of our film project, our podcast, and our retreat.
Step number 6, don't wait. Do it today. Only a few spaces available.
Now, let me read that website again. It's www.vowtothevictorysummit.com/sales.
-page-MC.
Now, you remember, your success is our goal.
We want to see you go from the vow to the victory. So we want to thank you and thank you in your time. And remember that you, Dr. Sakeisha and I would like to thank you for attending the first night of the Vow to Victory Virtual Summit.
We are confident that you are blessed by the tremendous outpouring from all the speakers that presented some dynamic topics this evening. We want to make sure that you set your clocks and you're back here at the same time tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the